Hello guys, today we're back with another chapter of once again Naked Economics, and today we're doing chapter 11 of this book, and the name of this chapter is International Economics. How did a nice country like Ireland go bust? So there was a guy that made nearly $1 billion in a single day. How did he do that then? Most people need weeks or months or years to even make $1 billion. Or maybe you can never even make $1 billion. Uh, so how did this guy do it in one day? He did it by making a huge bet on the future value of the British pound compared to other currencies, and he was right. So how did he do it? So the Britain was part of the European exchange thing. So this said that there are fluctuation in exchange rates between the European nations. So exchange rates is basically how much a currency of this country trades for another. The euro wasn't a thing back then, so each government had to keep its own currency trading on international currency within a narrow band of a target. So the British pound was about 3 German marks, and it could not fall below about 2.5 or 7, that kind. But the Britain was in the middle of like its currency was falling in value. So investors started selling the pound and looking for more profitable opportunities elsewhere. So the price of the pound was already decreasing, and as people sold it even more, it kept decreasing. The British government had two tools for propping up the value. The first one, pushing the thing up, was that the government could use its would use other currencies to buy the British pound and boost demand for the currency. Or the governments could raise a policy to raise real interest rates, which, well, makes the British bonds, but it also, well, makes the economy kind of stop. But the Brits had a problem. The governments had already spent huge sums of money buying pounds. The Bank of England was broke. It didn't have much foreign currency reserves. So raising these interest rates were not an attractive option either, because, well, the British economy was already bad, and raising interest rates during would, well, make it even worse. So actually, Britain wasn't the only country that suffered. uh, Italy was also another country that suffered from this kind, and they were forced to maintain high interest rates. And, well, it would attract foreign investors, but it would also, well, trouble their economy too. But nevertheless, they declared that they were going to defend the pound. But this guy who earned the $1 billion, I don't even remember his name, he thought different. He thought that the British pound would fall in price, as the British government wouldn't defend it as long as they thought. So, and it did, and he won. So let's go to a more central problem: the U.S. dollar and the yen. So let's say you want at America, you want to buy a Toyota from exported from Japan. You would have to pay them in US dollars, and that's clear. But those companies would have to pay their employees in yen, which is the Japanese currency. So they would have to exchange those US dollars for yen so that they could pay for their workers. And, well, how much does a US dollar trade for yen? They're both paper, so how much does a piece of paper trade for? trade for another piece of paper. The American dollar, just like the yen, is also a piece of paper. Like, it's not backed by anything. Let's imagine, well, the US dollar was backed by gold. Then it would be super powerful. So the Japanese yen is the same. It's also just a piece of paper. So is the euro and any other currency. Except now we have card exchanges, which makes it very simple and there's no problem trading a piece of paper for another anymore. So the rates of which one currency can be exchanged for another is the exchange rate. The Japanese yen has value because it could be used to purchase things. The dollar has value for the same reason. So in theory, we are willing to exchange $1 for how many yen or any other currency. It would purchase the same amount of stuff in that country. So let's say if a McDonald's meal costs $25, and in Japan I don't know, it costs something. I don't really know the exchange rate from US dollars to yen. So let's just say 700. So you would think that, well, the Japanese yen, $25 is equal to 700 yen. Which I don't know because I don't know the exchange rates between the two countries. So let's say the yen is losing 10% of its purchasing power, like inflation. So the US dollar is holding the same value. We would see that the yen is losing value relative to the US dollar. So this isn't any advanced math. It's just using your brain. Like, actually, just using your brain, you could think it out. So the author also had one of his experience going to China. So he read a guidebook about going to China and swapping currency. So he swapped it at a black market. But the Chinese currency has been losing value, and the book was old. So he had swapped his $100 for only a Chinese equivalent of 13.5. So, see, it's stupid. So, see, sometimes these stupid books could get you into pretty trouble. Well, he lost $100 minus $13, which is about 87. Yeah, $87. If you count the 0.5, then it's $86.5. So, $100 in the US would buy this. Let's say that Mexican goods are good. So people would then start trading US dollars for Mexican goods, and then until Mexico's the price, like the exchange rate of the Mexican dollar and the US dollar is one, like no difference. So then people would start changing because, well, buying from the two countries, it's no different. So it's like we could see that the exchange rates decrease, or it could increase. So I don't know, a McDonald's Big Mac. So let's go back. Our McDonald's is produced in a lot of countries, and it could be used as an exchange rate. So the Big Mac costs $5. While in China it costs 20. The whatever the currency in China is. So seeing $5 should be about 20 Chinese, I don't know, currency. This is but that was not even close to the official exchange rate though. The bank, they saw that one of the $1 can be about in the middle of 6 to 7 Chinese currency, making it undervalued. Like suddenly it was going from, I don't know, 5 or 20 is 1 in 4, so $1 is for Chinese thing, and then so it goes up to 6. So exchange rates can probably deviate a little. See, just go 1 for 6. Well, it's supposed to be 1 for 4. It's stupid. Well, it is stupid because I don't know. Probably every single system is supposed to be like that. Let's say a British pound could be exchanged for $1.5. A real return on government bonds in both the U.S. and the U.K. is 3%. So the British gov used policy to increase the interest rates to 4. American investors would then buy British bonds. So they would not buy. They would that would cause the British pound to increase in value relative to the dollar. So there are many ways we could measure a currency's value. First, it's a gold standard. We could compare the currency, how much it costs to buy gold, because well, gold it's basically like a scale to compare compare weight. Next is floating exchange rates. The governments can maintain a value of their currency as they do it under the gold standard. But it has a drawback is that well, currency fluctuations may add some bad things. Next is bonds, currency bonds. Just hand out currency bonds and then you're fine. Then or borrow someone's strong reputation. Actually, the Americans tried this once in the Great Recession, and it failed completely. So some currencies have no international value, like at all. The East Berlin and West Berlin Wall behind the curtain, when East Berlin, well, the German marks were it's like hyperinflated. The German mark, it didn't trade for anywhere else except for the communist world. So there's another country except for Argentina and many poor countries in Mexico. I don't know hyperinflation ones that have suffered. Iceland. So they had a bad banking system. So firstly, the country starts attracting a lot of foreign capital because it seems like their currency was seeming attractive. But then, well, as there was a global crisis, and then the thing lost its value, and then Iceland fell into a complete crisis, which, well, probably wouldn't end well for them, of course. So we don't care really much about the currency. We care about the flow of goods and services. So basically trade for short. So I don't know, giving up snacks in the lunchroom, like what are you giving it back? So we see. Of course, this trade, this money, let's say we buy 100 million cars from Japan and then sell them $50 million in planes, and then we've got 15 million current account thing. So Japan are not sending us an extra 50 million because they're friendly. They expect us to make up the difference. So basically, actually, the United States has a bad history for lending stuff. It seems like they love loaning. Actually, the U.S. and China has a relationship. The United States are currently at debt about $1 trillion with China, but if either of the countries stop, then well, there would be no hope. $1 trillion is a lot. If neither of them stopped, both would literally go out of the world. These countries would cease to exist because of bankruptcy. So they are stuck in a situation where they continually need to trade. So but the US could do a lot of things like inflate, printing a bunch of money which would go bad. So global GDP has grown, so we're richer than we were before. But who got poorer to make that possible? No one. Like, the better we do, the richer we are. So, see, that's the thing that everyone wants to. Maybe not everyone, but most. That's the end of today's chapter. Please leave a like and subscribe. I want to thank you for watching.